We're going to hear from a few more people, and then we're going to try to figure out what we can do about this and what Matt is doing. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm Reverend Lauren Gisselbeck. I'm the pastor of the Westminster United Methodist Church. Martha Proctor is my director of religious education. She and her children were on their way to our Christmas Eve service when they were struck by a drunk driver on 27, just south of Highway 26. I had to take the phone calls and stand there in the office telling people what was happening, because we had 350 people coming in for Christmas Eve service. And then I had to tell the father of the death of his two sons, and then I had to go back to the Christmas Eve service and conduct a Christmas Eve service at 11 o'clock for 500 people and share with them this tragic accident that
five people
had been killed, the 2 children and 3 grandchildren. Following that, of course, we had the memorial service, and then as an attempt to try to respond to this as a community, I called for a community forum on the drunk driver. And we had several hundred people out, plus all of the legislators and several state police and county police and the prosecuting attorney of Carroll County. I think it was an exceptionally good turnout for these people, and we had several of them speak. The only persons we did not have speak were judges at this particular community forum on the drunk driver. And I think the thing that it appears to me is that everyone is blaming everyone else for why can't we get something done. For instance, the courts are saying that the legislature needs to do more. The legislature is saying that the laws already on the books need to be enforced. The law enforcement people are saying that judges need to be tougher, and the judges are saying that they can't do it all. And I think what Tom Sexton said earlier...
You're talking about buck passing, is that what
That's
you're saying?
exactly right. What Tom Sexton said earlier, I think, is really important on this, getting serious about the whole aspect. Because one part of it is not going to do it. It's going to take every part of it. And so we've started a task force in Carroll County. And one of the things we're trying to do there is to involve all the people in this process. And I think the judges and the law enforcement are a big factor. One thing I'd like to stress is that as a pastor, just immediately following this period of time with the Proctor family, I had a member of my church who was also on trial for killing while being drunk. So I was on both sides of the spectrum there, and it does affect the drunk driver too. I mean, his life is greatly changed, and what we need to emphasize is that drunk drivers, your lives are going to be affected by it. And so therefore, make sure you are not one who is drunk and driving.
Well, I think Reverend Gisselbeck made an excellent point from the standpoint of county and local involvement in this issue. The state legislators are wrestling with tougher drunk driving laws. But more importantly, we have to enforce the existing laws, and it's up to every county and local government to evaluate the system that they handle drunk drivers and correct the flaws.
Okay, he says we all have to get involved. What does that mean? We all march in Annapolis, we all get our mad buttons. What do we do? What do we do?
Number one, you start writing your legislators, calling your legislators, letting them know the drunken driving laws will be heard on Wednesday of this week in Annapolis. Call your legislators and your district legislators.
And the vote for 18 is tomorrow. The
21.
House of Delegates, the 18, they're raising it from 18.
That will be held tomorrow, Tuesday. So let your legislators know, call them. And because your vote does count. It means a lot. People feel as though it doesn't, but when all of us band together, it does have a pressure on them, absolutely.
And second point, when you hang up from there, dial your highest elected official, whether it be the mayor of the city of Baltimore or a county executive, and ask what they are doing about the drunk driving problem, and for them to get involved and look at their systems. That has to be done, and it's up to us, the citizens, to get things going. This state sat back on its haunches for 13 years and ignored this problem. Finally, in July, we got 6 laws passed. These are nothing more than the tip of the iceberg. More needs to be done by state, county, and city governments, all working together.
Now, Governor Hughes claims to be totally in support of stricter laws against drunk drivers and a drinking age of 21 in the state. Has MAD been communicating with him and his office? Is he supportive?
Yes, MAD has been in communication with the governor. We met with the governor a little over 2 weeks ago and urging him to come out publicly and endorse the legislative package that was recommended by his his state task force. But more importantly, we urge the governor to put together a master plan to fight the drunk driver. That includes not only state legislation, but getting the county executives from all over the state together to sit down and put together a plan where we can deal with this both at state and local level.
What are we going to do, though? What would you like to see done, Di?
What I'd like to see done?
To the drunk driver, first offender.
First offender. I'd like to see stiffer penalties because right now they just plea bargain down and
How
basically
stiff?
it's
How
nothing.
stiff?
How stiff? Right now we have several laws in the legislation. One, I think, first offense is $500 fine, if I'm not mistaken. And second offense would be, what's it? I think it's $1,000 fine, right? And a few days in jail.
If you're talking about the first offender, sure. He should have his driving privilege revoked immediately.
Number one, yes.
You can't put everybody in jail, I realize that. However, when we're talking about the first offender who has killed someone or seriously injured someone, then I think we have a different situation here. I think we have to reevaluate all our rehabilitation programs on alcoholism. If there is treatment that they need, they must get it. But during this treatment, their driving privileges ought to be suspended.
Why don't you also suspend the guy who's arrested and not involved in an accident but charged with drunk driving? Wouldn't, by arresting him and putting him away for a little while, maybe you would prevent him from drinking the second time that might result in the fatal accident?
Well, I agree with you on theory. However, most of the so-called highway traffic experts indicate that time in jail has absolutely no influence on what they're going to do in future years. But certainly restricting their driving privileges has more of an impact, according to the experts.
We'll be back in just a moment.